What just hit my phone is not for everyone. It's the kind of whisper that jumps the line, a name you don't say out loud until you're sure. A move that could flip the West and light up San Francisco Bay in the span of one press release. If you're seeing this early, you're ahead of the curve, because once this catches fire, nobody will want to admit they were late. This isn't a cute rumor or a nostalgia tour. It's urgency. It's a window creaking open when the lead thinks it's painted shut. It's a front office staring at a whiteboard and deciding that the next move isn't about marketing or memories, it's about rings, matchups, and the math that decides Game 6 in May. Here's what you'll get right now. Before the timelines run wild, we'll break down the basketball fit in plain English, the salary logic without cap speak gimmicks, the rotation ripple effects that matter in the final 6 minutes, and the psychology of a locker room that believes it can still write a last great chapter. I'll show you where the risk lives, why the upside is real, and what the calendar does and does not allow. You're watching Warriors News Fan Report. If you live for clear, grounded analysis with heart, subscribe, drop a like so more Dub Nation finds this breakdown in time, and hit the bell. We talk ball the way fans actually talk, passionate, informed, and honest. Let's set the temperature of the room. Golden State has two pressures driving every decision. First, maximize what is left of Stephen Curry's prime without asking him to be oxygen, fuel, and spark in every quarter from Halloween to Father's Day. Second, stabilize the shooting diet so you're not riding week-long waves where wide open looks vanish and late clock bailouts. Become the menu dot under Steve Kerr. The identity is a living thing, pace that doesn't hurry, reads that look like jazz but have choreography, 5 players who can pass and cut, and a belief that the ball finds energy. When that identity hums, you don't beat the Warriors, you just survive them. But when it sputters, the offense leans too hard on Steph's gravity, the second unit drifts, and the weak side turns into a resting spot for opposing defenders. The West isn't forgiving. Denver weaponizes patience. Minnesota weaponizes size. Oklahoma City weaponizes speed. If you're serious about June, you need another threat who bends the floor on catch and shoots, punishes top locking, and reads split action with the muscle memory of a decade's worth of reps. You need someone who knows where the bodies are buried in this offense, because he helped bury them. There is also a human layer that doesn't fit neatly into spreadsheets. Championship locker rooms rely on trust that cannot be taught in a week. There are looks between veterans that say more than timeouts. There are huddles where one voice resets a possession and a series. Those moments matter when the crowd is too loud for you. Hear yourself blink. Timing is the third rail. You don't fix a playoff problem in late April if you can fix it in December. You don't spend a draft pick in February if you can spend belief in November. Windows don't announce themselves. They just close if you pretend they aren't there. So here's the question that has the Bay buzzing in quiet group chats and cautious front office calls. Is there a move that hits basketball logic and emotional truth at the same time? Is there a decision that sharpens the playbook and the pulse? The scenario on the table is this: a path through trade mechanics now or contractual maneuvering later that returns. Klay Thompson to the Golden State Warriors. Say it slowly and hear what it does to the room. Not as a museum piece or a farewell parade, but as a basketball answer. The idea isn't nostalgia. It's geometry. It's the way the defense shifts 2 steps toward the strong side when a certain jersey lifts from the corner. It's the sound a building makes when a shot goes up from the right wing and everyone in the building already knows how the net will sound. It's the math of gravity that never really left. Let's talk fit, because this is where the yes or no lives. In Kerr's motion, Klay is an interpreter. You read the slip before you see the slip. He times the split like a drummer who never misses the kick. And he lives in the space between open and open enough. Put him on the weak side of a Curry-Draymond handoff, and the low man has to tag one beat earlier. That beat is everything. It's a layup, a pocket pass, a clean above the break 3. The whole offense inhales differently when he's there. Beyond the set pieces. there's the second unit heartbeat. Golden State's lows have too often coincided with lineups that lean on creation by committee, where good intentions result in tough twos. Klay's presence gives those minutes purpose. Run your pet actions, spray, relocate, punish mistakes. Even if the volume isn't vintage, the menu gets smarter. Younger guards and wings get clearer reads. It is easier to learn the alphabet when the teacher writes in big letters. Defense matters, and we're not pretending time stands still. But Klay's defensive value in this system was always about angles, not track meets. Strong chest, strong hands, force the driver into help, live with tough twos. You don't ask him to erase a jitterbug. Your scheme doesn't do that to anyone. You ask him to make a possession predictable so the backline can organize. That's a skill that ages better than most. Shot profile is the quiet key. Catch and shoot from the wings, early offense trails, corner relocations, and those quick trigger threes that don't let the defense breathe. If you're counting on Klay to self-create late clock stepbacks for 22 shots a night, you're chasing ghosts. If you're asking him to be the cardinal point of spacing so that Curry, Draymond, and Wiggins can carve up the middle of the floor, you are speaking the language of winning. Now the locker room. There's a reason veteran cores crave certain voices. Klay's presence has always been a thermostat. Not too hot after a win, not too cold after a loss. If you're integrating young pieces and trying to hold a high defensive standard without killing joy, that matters. You can't measure it in a spreadsheet. You feel it in February when the schedule turns mean. Mechanics are the part everyone wants to rush past, but they decide what's real. Return paths live in three families. 1. An in-season trade if his current situation sours and all parties see a clean win-win exit. That means matching salary, assets that don't mortgage the next 3 drafts, and a clear role on day 1. 2. A summer agreement that threads the needle with the new apron penalties. No fantasy math, just realistic numbers and an honest roll. 3. A longer play where both sides keep the light on and revisit when the calendar and cap lines line up. None of these are easy. None of them are impossible. What would it change for Steph? Everything and nothing. Everything, because a willing, trusted spacer restores the original blueprint of paint screen, slip, relocate, punish. Nothing, because Steph remains the sun. The difference is that the orbit gets cleaner. His off-ball minutes stop feeling like charity to a tired body. His on-ball minutes get meaner because the help can't cheat 2 steps into his airspace. What does it do for Draymond? It gives him his favorite conversation partner back in the half-court, a wing who reads the same sheet music, who sprints into flare screens without needing to be told twice, who turns dribble handoffs into layups and open threes by just being there. Draymond's passing is a weapon of anticipation. Klay turns anticipation into certainty. How does it touch Wiggins, Moody, Podziemski, and the rest? It tightens the rotation in a way coaches love in April. Roles that are narrower and cleaner. Wiggins toggles between the toughest wing and the second cutter. Moody graduates into steadier minutes where the ask is simple: defend, rebound, take the open shot, cut on time. Podziemski keeps the second unit organized without being asked to conjure points from thin air. Iron sharpens iron, but definition sharpens confidence. The playoff math is where this becomes more than a homecoming fantasy. Against Denver, the 2-man game drags Jokic into space and forces tags from non-shooters. Against Minnesota, you attack the seam before the trees set their feet, and Klay's quick-release short circuits late closeouts. Against Oklahoma City, you punish gambling length by turning one overplay into 3 passes and a splash. You don't need 2016 volume to win these series. You need 2025 clarity. What can go wrong? Plenty. If the volume stays low and the efficiency dips, you risk building a closing lineup around a memory. If lateral quickness slips more, you'll need to be ruthless with matchups, no pride minutes, only winning minutes. If the price tag crowds out future flexibility, you've paid for yesterday's postcard instead of tomorrow's flight. This is the sober side of the conversation, and it belongs here. Health and minute management matter. The franchise would need a firm plan, target minutes, back-to-back philosophy, and a role that aims for freshness in April, not box score heroics in November. The entire point is to have a player who raises your ceiling in series, not someone who checks every regular season box for nostalgia's sake. And then there's the city. Chase Center hums differently when certain numbers check in at the scorer's table. There's an electricity that bends fourth quarters, that matters to fans and matters to players who feed off the noise. But again, the move only makes sense if it turns noise into wins, not the other way around. From the coaching perspective, this is comfort food for the playbook. You reopen the vault of weak side actions that went quiet. You bring back the patented screen the screener into split, where the defense chooses between a layup and a clean three. You reduce the number of possessions where the offense devolves into Steph Save Us, which preserves the legs that still decide the sport. Analytics won't sing songs, but they'll nod. Shot quality improves when gravity tightens the defense. Turnover risk drops when decisions happen a beat earlier. Free throw rate rises when defenders are late to the tag and reach across bodies. Expected value per possession is the dull phrase for a beautiful idea. The floor rises without choking the ceiling. There are alternate paths that this doesn't materialize other shooters. Other wings, other ways to buy space. But none come with plug-and-play fluency. None come with the trust stored from 1,000 reps. And none come with the emotional clarity of watching a franchise finish the story it started. The league is a business. Banners are a legacy. Sometimes those two can shake hands. So where are we exactly? As of right now, there's no official deal to announce. What we're doing is pressure testing a possibility that has surfaced in quiet conversations, that the basketball fit, the timing, and the mutual respect could create a lane for Klay Thompson to return to the Golden State Warriors. The factors are real. The hurdles are real. The door, for the first time in a while, doesn't feel locked out if it happened tomorrow. What's the first starting five you picture? Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Draymond, a center who screens and protects the rim. If it happened in the summer, what's the eight-man circle you trust? Add a connector guard, a wing who defends, a big who can rebound in traffic. You can see it without squinting. You can also see the version where the front office decides the price is wrong and bets on internal growth plus a different shooter. Both realities are coherent. Only one ends with the crowd singing in late May. There is also the question of role acceptance that defines champions. Klay, back in this jersey, would need to live fully in the version of himself that wins in 2025. Ruthless shot selection, defense by angle, leadership by presence, and a willingness to be the second, third, or fourth option on a given night without blinking. Nothing about that is beneath him. Everything about that is why it could work. Zoom out to legacy. Every dynasty, if it's lucky, gets one last perfect note. Not the loudest, just the truest hit at the right time, in the right building, with the right people. The Bay doesn't owe anyone a fairy tale. But sometimes basketball gives you a door back to the gym where the best years of your life lived. The smart move is only smart if it wins. The beautiful move is only beautiful if it fits. Here, uniquely, those two ideas might be the same. What would it mean to the younger core if the move happens? It raised the standard without suffocating opportunity. It says to Moody and Podziemski and the rest, the bar is here, learn to clear it. And learn to clear it with a guide who already knows the runway. It says to the room, this is how we play, this is how we prepare, this is how we win. That's culture, not marketing. Against the league's best switching defenses, Klay's return resets the chessboard. You cannot switch with impunity when the cost of a late switch is a catch-and-shoot three with muscle memory behind it. You cannot load two bodies at the point of attack if the weak side needs an extra foot of attention. You cannot dare the second unit to beat you with long twos if the second unit has a release valve. There's a financial truth to keep in the conversation. Even a friendly number has consequences in the new penalty world. The front office would need to maintain enough flexibility to address size, athleticism at the point of attack, and rebounding on the margins. That means smart minimums, smart development minutes, and a ruthless eye for what translates in the postseason. Bringing back a legend cannot become an excuse to stop doing the hard work on the edges. I keep coming back to the bracket. Not October, not Christmas, not the two-game skids that feel like tsunamis in January. The bracket. Can you picture a closing five that wins 3 out of 5 against the teams you have to beat? With Klay back, the answer is yes in ways that are tangible. Spacing, trust, clarity, history. Without him, the path still exists. It's just steeper, more dependent on internal leaps, arriving on schedule and role players, finding form at the exact right time. There will be skeptics with good reasons. They'll say the league is younger, faster, longer, and that the way to chase June is to sprint in a new direction. They'll say you can't go home again. They'll say this is hard overhead. I hear them. But sometimes the right forward move looks backward to the exact tool you used to cut down the nets in the first place. We should also be honest about the emotional cost of doing nothing. If the team drifts through another season where the edges are sharp, but the middle goes dull, we will replay every near miss and wonder if a phone call left unmade kept the light from turning green. Regret is louder than risk in this league. You can live with a bet that made basketball sense, even if it doesn't cash. It's harder to live with a safe pass that left your best player asking for one more shooter, one more read, one more heartbeat he recognizes. There's a snapshot in my head. Chase center. Fourth quarter, tie game, 8 on the clock. Steph draws 2, flips to Draymond, short roll, sprayed to the right wing, and the ball finds the hands that turn pressure into poetry for a decade. The shot goes up. The city holds its breath. That's not nostalgia. That's a play that still wins in 22-5. So here's where I stand. In basketball terms, the possibility of Klay Thompson returning to the Warriors makes real sense if the role is ruthlessly honest. The number is responsible, and the rest of the roster keeps its balance. In practical terms, it's a heavy lift that depends on timing, health, and humility from everyone involved. And in emotional terms, it's the rare move that could align how the game feels with how the game is won. I want to hear you. Would you make the call and bring Klay back if the fit and the finances line up? Or do you push forward with a different shooter and keep your powder dry? Tell me what your closing five would be. Tell me the minute plan you'd run. Tell me the series you think this actually swings. Drop your takes below. This channel is smarter because you're in it. My opinion. Stated plainly, I would support a Klay return under a defined role and a disciplined number because I believe the geometry he brings still wins playoff possessions. And to be crystal clear, this is speculation, not an announcement.